Welcome back to another video of coursing. Till now we created a CRUD for a context. Hereafter we are going to implement routing in our application. For now we are having create list and edit in the same screen. Hereafter we are going to create a route for the each feature, and also we are creating a dashboard screen. Without wasting time, let's do the changes. We can create a new functional component inside the folder dashboard so that we can create a routing for dashboard and also contacts. Next, we can create a file route.js. In this file, we can have all the routings. To implement routing, we need one more library, React Router DOM, so that we can open the terminal and do npm install React Router DOM. We can import the browse router and route and routes from the React Router DOM, and we can add the required routes for our application. Now we created all the required routes for our application. Now we can go back to the app.js. We can replace the existing component with this route component. Now we can comment this existing components and we can go back to the browser. Yeah, here the routing works fine. We can see the dashboard component in the empty route, and also we can check the other routings as well. Looks like something is wrong with the create contact routing. Yeah, looks like some typo issue. We can change this and test it once. Yeah, now it works fine. Next, we can rearrange the functionality part of the screens. First, we can go back to list component. Till now, we manage the contacts data from the app.js in a state variable. Hereafter, we are going to store the data in a local storage. Here we are declaring a new state variable to have the contacts, and also we are going to use the use effect to map the value from the contacts stored in the local storage. We can create a new file called constant.js in the utils so that we can store the constants here. I can see the mismatch in the import and the file name of constant.js, so that I'm changing that. Now we can go back to the browser and we can validate the UI. Still you can see the empty records in the contact list because there is no data in the local storage. Now we are going to add a button that takes us to the create contact screen. Yeah, now we are able to see the button, right? And we can add a click event on the button and we can add the routing inside the function. Now we created a router function with the help of use navigate from the React router DOM. Now we can go back to the browser. Yeah, now looks it's working fine. Now we can add a navigation in the cancel to go back to the list component, and also we can restructure the create contact functionality. Creating a function when we are clicking on the cancel button to take us to the contact list component. We can add the created function in the on-click event of cancel button. We can go back to the browser and validate the changes. Click on the cancel button. Yeah, we are able to navigate back to contact list screen. Hereafter, we are going to move the functions from the app.js to their respective components. In this function, we are going to save the create data into the local storage so that in the list screen that can be retrieved and displayed in the screen. Here we are going to get the existing record from the local storage and we are going to append the new create data and again we are going to update in the local storage. Don't forget to import the variables. Here we are going to update the constant, so I'm just changing const to let. When we are updating the data in this local storage, we need to stringify the data, and when we are retrieving the data, we need to parse the data. We need to move few more things from app.js to the create.js. All the changes made for create contact. Now we can go back to the browser and validate the create flow. Before clicking on the submit, we can inspect the site and we can go back to the application tab and open the storage. Now we can click on the create button so that it will store in the local storage with the key of contact list. We can do one more thing. We can navigate back to list component once the create is successful. Yeah, looks the complete flow works fine for create. Now we can look on the deleted edit part. We made the record changes for the delete contacts so that we can go back to the browser and validate once, and delete works fine, and we can test the entire flow with create and delete. Now create and delete works fine, and we can check the code for edit. We are going to add a new route for the edit contact. In that route, we are going to have a ID as a params. Remove the handle edit contact function from the app.js so that we can create a new function in the list.js. In this function, we are going to create a navigation to edit contact along with the selected contact ID and going back to the browser, and when you click on the edit icon, it will navigate back to edit contact, and you can see the ID, right? But still we can see the texts and create and submit so that we can make some changes on that place. Here we are going to use one more hook, use params, that helps to get the ID from the route. We can check once whether we are able to retrieve the ID from the params by consoling it in the use effect. Looks like I missed to remove the edit data from few places. Let me clean up the code once. Yeah, the ID has been printed in the console. Now we can make the required changes to map the selected value in the form. If we are having ID in the URL, we are considering the doesn't edit, and we are just getting the value from the local storage, and we are trying to map those data into the form data. I need one more changes, so I'm just changing constant to length here. Yeah, looks like it works, and it is loading the data of a particular ID, and we are just modifying the email, and we can update the value. We can check whether it is updated or not. Yeah, we can see the updated value in the mono, right? Now we can check once the complete edit flow. Yeah, here the changes are working good, and hereafter we are going to do some style changes to beautify our application. Yeah, the style works fine and looks good too. Now we can do some code cleanup. Hereafter we are going to design a dashboard for the contacts and also a side navbar. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe.